It was a Friday afternoon, and I was home alone. My parents were going away for the weekend, and I was staying home by myself for the first time. I was 12, and had been begging them to let me stay home alone. I would be fine. I was old enough. I could take care of myself. My parents had finally agreed to let me spend the weekend by myself. I had been looking forward to it for weeks, planning out my schedule and what games I was going to play and what movies I was going to watch. They were supposed to leave early in the morning, but they kept putting it off. They kept saying they had to finish cleaning up and they had to make sure everything was ready for me to take care of myself while they were away. Finally, they left just before noon. I was glad they were gone, and I couldn't wait to finally have the house to myself. I had always dreamed of being able to spend time alone, without my parents there to tell me what to do. I planned to play video games all day and stay up as late as I wanted. I spent the afternoon playing video games and watching TV. Around 5:30, I realized I was hungry. My parents had left me some money so I could order a pizza. I looked up the number for the pizza place and ordered one large pepperoni pizza. I sat down and waited for the delivery guy to show up. 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I walked over to the front door and opened it. A man was standing on the other side holding a pizza box. He looked to be in his late 20s, with short brown hair and a white t-shirt. He smiled at me when I opened the door. "Pizza for..." he said, looking down at the box. "Me," I replied. He handed me the box, and I took it. I reached into my pocket to grab the money my parents had given me, but the delivery guy stopped me. "It's okay, I already took the money from your parents," he said. They gave me a 20 and said to keep the change. I nodded. "Oh, okay, thanks." He smiled again. "No problem, bud." He started to turn and walk back to his car, but then he stopped and looked back at me. "Hey, are you home alone?" I felt a surge of fear. I didn't like that he was asking me that. "No, my parents are in the other room." I lied. "They're just busy right now." The delivery guy nodded, but he didn't look like he believed me. He walked back to his car and drove off. I closed and locked the door, then took the pizza into the kitchen. I grabbed a slice and sat down at the table to eat it. As I was eating, I couldn't shake the feeling that the delivery guy had been suspicious of me. It was probably nothing, but it still made me nervous. I finished eating the pizza, then went back to playing video games. As the night wore on, I started to get tired. I realized it was almost midnight, and I hadn't even started getting ready for bed. I saved my game and turned off the TV, then walked upstairs to my bedroom. I brushed my teeth and changed into my pajamas, then climbed into bed. As I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a knock at the front door. I froze, wondering who it could be. I looked at the clock on my bedside table and saw that it was 12:15 a.m. Who would be knocking on my door at this time of night? I tried to ignore it, hoping whoever it was would go away. But then I heard another knock, this one louder and more insistent. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized that someone was trying to get into my house. I slowly got out of bed and walked over to my bedroom window. I looked out and saw a car parked in front of my house. The engine was still running and the lights were on. My heart was racing as I tried to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to ignore the knocking and hope the person went away, but another part of me was scared that they might try to break in. I decided to go downstairs and see who it was. Maybe it was just a neighbor who needed help with something. I walked quietly downstairs, trying not to make any noise. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I saw that the front door was still closed and locked. I let out a sigh of relief, thinking that maybe the person had given up and left. But then I heard another knock. This one was even louder than the last two. Whoever was out there was not giving up. I felt my heart racing as I approached the door. I didn't want to open it, but I was also curious about who it could be. As I got closer to the door, I heard a voice. "Hello? Is anyone home?" the voice said. It sounded like a man's voice. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, frozen in fear. "Please, I need help," the voice said again. "Can you please open the door?" I didn't know what to do. Part of me felt bad for the man and wanted to help him, but another part of me was terrified. What if he was dangerous? What if he was trying to trick me into opening the door so he could attack me? As I stood there, trying to decide what to do, I heard the sound of footsteps. They were heavy and deliberate, like the man was trying to be quiet, but wasn't doing a very good job. The footsteps started at the front door and then moved around the side of the house. I could hear them getting closer and closer to the back door. Suddenly, I heard the sound of the back door opening. My heart raced as I realized that the man had broken into my house. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there, paralyzed with fear. I heard the man's footsteps as he moved through the house. They were getting closer and closer to where I was standing. I knew I had to do something, so I slowly started to back away from the door. As I did, I heard the man's voice again. "I know you're home," he said. His voice was low and menacing. "Why don't you come out and talk to me?" I didn't say anything. I kept backing away from the door, trying to put as much distance between me and the man as possible. As I moved, I knocked over a lamp that was sitting on a table next to me. It fell to the ground with a loud crash. "Who's there?" the man's voice said again, this time sounding angry. I didn't answer. I just kept backing away from the door. Suddenly, I heard footsteps coming from the hallway that led to the living room. They were getting closer and closer. I turned and ran, dashing towards the stairs. I could hear the man's footsteps behind me, getting closer and closer. I didn't dare look back. I just kept running, hoping I could make it to my bedroom before he caught me. I reached the top of the stairs and ran down the hallway to my room. I slammed the door shut behind me and locked it, just as the man reached the top of the stair. I could hear him pounding on my bedroom door, but it held strong. "Let me in!" he shouted. "Let me in right now!" I backed away from the door, my heart racing. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there, watching the door as the man pounded on it. Suddenly, my phone started to ring. It was my mom. She had told me she would call to check on me before she went to bed. I ran over to my desk and answered it. "Mom?" I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "Hi, sweetie," she said. "Are you okay? You sound scared." "There's a man in the house," I said quickly. "He broke in. I don't know what to do." My mom didn't hesitate. "I'm calling the police," she said. "Stay on the phone with me. Don't hang up, no matter what." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Okay," I said. I could hear her talking to someone in the background, probably my dad. She was telling him what was happening. "Sweetie, the police are on their way," she said after a moment. "They should be there in just a few minutes. Can you get somewhere safe?" I looked around my room, trying to think of where I could go. The man was still pounding on my bedroom door, and I knew it wouldn't hold for much longer. "I don't know," I said. "The man is trying to get into my room. I don't think the door will hold for much longer." My mom was quiet for a moment, and then she said, "Go into your closet and lock the door. Stay there until the police come, okay?" "Okay," I said. I walked over to my closet and opened the door. It was small, but I knew I could fit inside. I got in and locked the door behind me. "Are you in the closet?" my mom asked. "Yes," I said. "Okay, just stay there," she said. "Help is on the way. Just hang in there, sweetie. Everything is going to be okay." I could hear the man still pounding on my bedroom door. It sounded like he was about to break it down. I was terrified, but I knew my mom was right. The police were on their way, and they would be there soon. I just had to stay in the closet until they arrived. It felt like hours, but it was probably only a few minutes before I heard sirens. The man stopped pounding on the door, and everything was quiet. I could hear my mom's voice on the phone, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Suddenly, the closet door was yanked open. I screamed and tried to scramble back, but it was too late. 2 police officers were standing there, looking down at me. "It's okay," one of them said. "You're safe now." I started to cry as the reality of what had just happened hit me. The police officers helped me out of the closet and led me downstairs. They told me the man was gone and that I was safe now. I didn't stop crying until my parents got home a few hours later. They never found the man who broke into our house. My parents think he might have been the pizza delivery guy, but there was no proof. The pizza place said they didn't have any record of a delivery to our house that night. I never felt safe in that house again, and we ended up moving a few months later. I'll never forget that night, and how terrified I was. It taught me to always be careful and to never open the door to strangers, no matter what. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. I had trouble sleeping that night, and when I finally did fall asleep, I had nightmares. In the nightmares, the man broke into my room and hurt me. I would wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding. I tried to push the thoughts out of my head, but I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the man's face. I heard his voice, menacing and angry. I could still feel the fear that had gripped me as I hid in the closet, waiting for the police to arrive. My parents tried to reassure me that everything was okay now. They told me the man was long gone and that I was safe, but I couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability. I started to wonder if I would ever feel truly safe again. A few days after the break-in, I was sitting in my room trying to focus on my homework, but every time I heard a noise, I jumped. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting to see the man standing there. I knew it was irrational, but I couldn't help it. The fear had become ingrained in me. My mom came into my room and sat down next to me. She put her arm around me and pulled me close. "Hey, sweetie," she said gently. "How are you doing?" I shrugged. "I don't know, I just can't stop thinking about it." She nodded. "I know, it's going to take some time, but you're safe now, and we're not going to let anything happen to you." I looked up at her, my eyes filling with tears. "What if he comes back?" I asked, my voice shaking. My mom pulled me closer. "He won't," she said firmly. "We're going to make sure this house is secure. We're going to get a security system, and we're going to make sure all the doors and windows are locked. You don't have to worry." I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself down. My mom was right. We would be okay. It was just going to take some time to feel safe again. Over the next few weeks, my parents worked hard to make our house more secure. They installed a security system and put locks on all the windows. They even got a dog, a big German Shepherd named Max. Slowly but surely, I started to feel safer. But even with all the new security measures, I still couldn't shake the fear completely. I had trouble sleeping, and when I did, I had nightmares. I would wake up in the middle of the night, my heart pounding, convinced that the man had come back. My parents were patient with me. They knew it would take time for me to feel completely safe again. They reassured me every day that everything was okay, and they did their best to make me feel protected. As the days turned into weeks, things started to get better. I was able to sleep through the night without having nightmares, and I didn't jump at every little noise. I started to feel like a normal kid again. But then, one night, everything changed. I was asleep in my bed when I was awakened by a noise. At first, I thought it was just the house settling, but then I heard it again. It was the sound of footsteps, heavy and deliberate. They were coming from right outside my bedroom door. My heart started to race as I lay there, listening to the footsteps. They stopped right outside my door, and then I heard a voice. "I know you're in there," the voice said. It was the man from before. "Let me in." I froze, terrified. The man had come back. I didn't know what to do. And then, everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. My parents were sitting next to me, looking worried. "Hey, sweetie," my mom said when she saw that I was awake. "How are you feeling?" I tried to sit up, but a sharp pain shot through my head. I winced and lay back down. "I don't know," I said, my voice hoarse. "What happened?" My dad spoke up. "You were attacked," he said gently. "Someone broke into the house and hurt you." I felt a wave of fear wash over me. "The man?" I asked. "He came back?" My mom nodded. "Yes, but he's not going to hurt you again. The police caught him. He's in jail now." I closed my eyes, feeling a wave of relief wash over me. The man was gone. He couldn't hurt me anymore. But as I lay there, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I knew the man was in jail, but I couldn't stop wondering how he had gotten into the house. We had a security system. The doors and windows were all locked. How had he gotten in? And then, I remembered, I had forgotten to lock my bedroom window the night before. I had opened it earlier in the day to get some fresh air, and I had forgotten to close and lock it before I went to bed. The man must have come in through my window. He must have climbed up the side of the house and gotten in that way. If I had just remembered to lock the window, this wouldn't have happened. It was all my fault. I started to cry, overcome with guilt and fear. My parents tried to comfort me, but I just cried harder. I couldn't believe I had been so stupid. If I had just locked the window, the man wouldn't have been able to get in. My parents stayed with me at the hospital until I was released the next day. When we got home, I saw that they had already fixed my bedroom window. It was now locked and secure, and there was no way anyone could get in that way again. My parents never blamed me for what happened. They knew it was an accident, and they didn't want me to blame myself. But I couldn't help it. For a long time after that, I felt guilty every time I thought about what had happened. If I had just locked the window. But as time went on, I started to realize that it wasn't my fault. The man had chosen to break into my house and hurt me. It didn't matter if the window was locked or not, he would have found a way in no matter what. It took a long time for me to come to terms with what had happened. But with the help of my parents and therapy, I was eventually able to move on. I learned that the things that happen to us are not always our fault, and that sometimes bad things just happen. It's how we respond to them that matters. In the end, I was just grateful to be alive. I knew that things could have been much worse, and I was thankful for my parents and their love and support. I was alive, and that's all that mattered. Years later, when I was in college, I got a call from my mom. She told me that the man who had broken into our house all those years ago had died in prison. He had been serving a life sentence, and he had died of a heart attack. When my mom told me the news, I felt a wave of emotions. Part of me was glad that the man was dead. He could never hurt me or anyone else again. But another part of me felt a pang of sadness. I didn't want anyone to die, no matter what they had done. In the end, I realized that I couldn't change the past. The man had made his choices, and he had suffered the consequences. All I could do was move on and be grateful for the life I had. I was lucky to have such loving and supportive parents, and I was determined to make the most of the time I had. I never forgot what had happened to me that night. That was story one, a terrifying night for a kid home alone. But now, let's move to story two. This time, the danger isn't at the front door, it's deep in the forest, watching through the windows. I grew up in North Idaho. My parents had always wanted a home of their own, one where they could move to, retire, and live out the rest of their days. They finally built one about 10 years ago. The house is beautiful. It has plenty of space and it's out in the middle of the woods. My dad got his private movie theater, my mom got her own gym, and the whole family has their own rooms. It's an amazing place and the location is perfect. It's not too far of a drive to the nearest city, and there are no neighbors for miles. It's just the perfect place for someone looking to escape the city life. It's the kind of place where you feel like you could really unwind and live life to the fullest. The woods are beautiful, the mountains are breathtaking, and the wildlife is unbelievable. You can hunt, fish, ski, and explore all year round. This story took place about 4 months after we had moved into the home. My mom and dad had gone to a wedding. My sister was with her friends, and I had the house all to myself for the night. It was a Friday. I was in college at the time, and I had a girlfriend. She was a couple years older than me and was a bit more experienced. I had just turned 21, and my parents trusted me enough to have a girl over while they weren't home. This was the first time they had left me alone with a girl. I was excited, and so was she. We made some dinner, drank some wine, and watched a movie. We picked out Gladiator and started to watch it. About 30 minutes in, I started to feel like someone was watching us. I didn't say anything to her because I didn't want to freak her out. I just kept an eye out of the corner of my eye. We finished the movie around 10 p.m. My parents were still out, so we started to get a little frisky. She left about an hour later, and I went back to the theater to turn everything off. I walked in and saw something that still haunts me to this day. Outside of the floor-to-ceiling windows, a man was standing there staring right at me. He was smiling at me. An enormous, inhuman smile. It took me a few moments to realize what was going on. When I finally did, I turned off the lights and walked out of the room. I couldn't shake the feeling of dread for the rest of the night. I never told my girlfriend because I thought she would think I was crazy. The next night, I was home alone again. My parents and sister had gone out to a restaurant, and I stayed behind. I wasn't really in the mood to go out after what happened last night. I started up a movie, and about 30 minutes in, there he was again. He was just standing there outside the window, staring at me, smiling that unnaturally large smile. I got up and went to the kitchen. When I came back, he was gone. I finished watching the movie and went to bed. I didn't sleep at all that night. The third night, I was awoken by a tapping sound. I got out of bed to see what it was and realized it was coming from the theater. I walked to the room and the noise stopped. I could see a figure outside of the window, but it was too dark to make anything out. Suddenly, I heard a sound behind me and turned to see my dog staring at me from the doorway. He was a large Rottweiler and normally calm as could be. When he saw me turn to look at him, he started to growl. He had never done this before and I was shocked. I told him to go to his bed. He did, but he didn't stop growling. I looked back at the window and the figure was gone. The next night I was in the theater when I heard tapping on the window again. I looked and there he was. The same man I had seen the first night. He was staring at me, smiling that huge, unsettling smile. I got up and walked to the window. He didn't move. He just kept staring at me with that grin. I looked him over and realized that he was holding a large knife. I stepped back from the window and he started tapping on it again. He kept tapping for a few minutes before he stopped and walked away. I watched him leave, and when he was out of sight, I went to my room and locked the door. I didn't leave the room until morning. The next night, my parents and sister were home. I didn't tell them what was happening. I was scared they wouldn't believe me. We were all in the theater watching a movie when I saw him again. He was standing in the dark, staring at me. He had his knife in his hand, but he wasn't doing anything with it, just staring at me, smiling that creepy smile. I got up to get a drink, and when I came back, he was gone. I sat down and didn't take my eyes off of the window for the rest of the movie. He never came back. The next morning, I walked out to the backyard and noticed something strange. Footsteps in the snow. They went from the woods to right below the theater window, then back to the woods. It looked like they had been there for a couple days. I went inside and told my family. They didn't believe me. They said it was probably just some kids messing around. My dad told me to stop watching so many scary movies. I tried to brush it off like they did. I thought maybe I was just tired or something. That maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. I tried to forget about it and go on with my life, but I couldn't. I kept feeling like I was being watched. I would see movement out of the corner of my eyes. I knew he was still out there. I knew he hadn't left. About a week later, I was watching a movie in the theater by myself. The lights were off and it was dark in the room. I had fallen asleep during the movie and woke up to the sound of tapping on glass. It was faint, but it was there. I looked at the window and there he was, standing right outside of it. He was still smiling, still staring at me. I could see his breath in the cold winter air. He was so close to the glass that it was fogging up from his breath. I stared back at him in horror. He stared at me for a moment before starting to tap on the glass again. I slowly stood up and walked towards the window. He stopped tapping and just stared at me again. I walked right up to the glass and looked him right in the eyes. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I just wanted to see if he was real. He was filthy. His hair was matted and dirty. His clothes were ripped and covered in stains. He smelled of sweat and urine. He had deep bags under his eyes and his skin was pale. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He was holding the same knife I had seen before. It was large, with jagged edges. I looked down at it, then back up at him. He was still staring at me, smiling his terrifying smile. His eyes looked empty, hollow, like there was nothing behind them. I took a step back and he tapped on the glass again. I turned around and ran to my room. I locked the door and grabbed my shotgun. I had never really used it, but my dad had taught me how. I loaded it and walked back to the theater. He was still there, staring at me through the window. I pointed the shotgun at him and yelled for him to leave. He didn't move. I shot a warning shot into the air and he finally started to back away. He took his time walking away, and when he got to the tree line, he turned around and stared at me one last time. Then he disappeared into the darkness. I walked outside and looked for him. He was gone. I went back inside and grabbed a flashlight. I went back out to the tree line and looked for footprints. I found a set that led off into the woods. I followed them for a bit, but couldn't find anything. I went back to the house and locked all of the doors. I grabbed my dog and brought him to my room. I didn't want him to be alone. I left the lights off and kept an eye on the window. He never came back. I stayed awake until the sun came up, then fell asleep. I slept for most of the day. When I woke up, I checked the window. Nothing. No footsteps in the snow. No sign that he had ever been there at all. I thought maybe I had imagined it all. Maybe it had all been a dream. But then I looked over at my dog. He was staring at the window, growling softly. I knew then that it was all real. I never saw him again after that. I still get chills when I think about it. I don't know who he was or what he wanted, but I know that he was real and he was dangerous. I hope that he is dead. I hope that something took him out in those woods. I don't want to think about what would have happened if I hadn't had that shotgun. I don't want to imagine what he would have done to me or my family if I hadn't been prepared. I just hope that he is gone forever. I hope he never comes back. I never told my parents what happened. I was scared of what they might think. I didn't want them to think I was crazy or that I was making it all up. I just wanted to forget about it and move on. I never brought it up again. I tried to put it all behind me and pretend like it had never happened. But every time I go into that theater, I can't help but look at the window. I can't help but wonder if he is still out there waiting for me, waiting for his chance to get to me, to hurt me, to do whatever it is that he wants. I hope I never find out. I hope that one day I will be able to go into that room without looking at the window, without feeling like I am being watched. Until then, I will just have to live with the fear. The fear of knowing that he could come back at any time. The fear of knowing that I may not be so lucky next time. Years have passed since that night. I am no longer living at home. I have my own place now, my own life. But I still think about that night. I still think about him. I wonder where he is and what he is doing. I wonder if he ever thinks about me. I wonder if he thinks about what could have been. I don't think I will ever know the answers to these questions. I don't think I want to know. I am just glad to be alive. I am glad that I was able to protect myself and my family. I am glad that it is all over. I hope that this is the end of it. I hope that I will never have to deal with him again. I hope that I can finally put this behind me and move on with my life. I hope that someday I will be able to forget all about him. Forget about the night that he came into my life and tried to destroy it. Forget about the fear and the terror that he instilled in me. Forget about him and everything that he represents. I hope that someday all of this will just be a bad memory. A distant memory that I can barely remember. A memory that doesn't scare me anymore. But until then, I will have to live with it. I will have to remember what happened and be prepared in case it ever happens again. I will have to be constantly on guard. I will have... That was story 2, a chilling encounter with a smiling stranger in the woods. But if you thought one man was scary, what about a group of friends, a haunted cabin, and a visitor who comes back more than once? Welcome to story 3. When I was a teenager, my friends and I rented out a cabin for the weekend. It was a remote area, and we were planning on drinking and playing games and generally having a good time. The cabin itself was huge, but really cheap. We could only find one review for it, and that was from a few years ago. But we decided to go for it anyway. There were 4 of us guys and 2 girls, and we didn't want to spend too much money. The guy we were renting it from was really suspicious too. He told us not to go too deep into the forest, and he seemed really nervous. We didn't know what he meant, and we laughed it off at the time. But it makes sense now. We arrived on a Thursday night. The place was surrounded by trees, and it was really quiet. There was no cell service, so we couldn't get a hold of anyone. We had some beer, and we played some music, and we just had a good time. Around 4 a.m., one of our friends, Matt, got up to take a piss. We were all passed out on the couches. As he was walking back to the living room, he looked out the window and saw a man. This man was just standing outside the window, staring in. Matt was freaked out, so he woke us up. We looked out the window, and the man was still there. He was just a tall, pale dude. He wasn't wearing anything, and he was just staring at us with wide eyes. We thought he might be a local or something. Matt told him to leave, but he just stood there. We didn't know if we should call the police or what. But then the guy started tapping on the window. It was slow and rhythmic, and it freaked us out even more. We tried to call the police, but no one picked up. We decided to ignore him and just go to bed. We figured he was some random dude who was high or something. The next night, we decided to lock all the doors and windows. We didn't want to see that weirdo again. We had more beer and played more games, but around 3:30 Matt woke us up again. He said that he had seen the same man, but this time he was inside the house. We didn't believe him at first, but then we heard a noise coming from the kitchen. We crept towards the kitchen, and that's when we saw him. He was just standing there, looking around. He was still pale and naked, and his eyes were still wide. He slowly tilted his head to the side, as if he was trying to understand what was going on. We called the police again, but no one answered. We didn't know what to do, so we just waited. We heard footsteps outside our door, but they stopped after a few minutes. We were too scared to go back out there, so we just stayed in our room until morning. When we finally got up the courage to go outside, the man was gone. We found the back door unlocked, which is how he must have gotten in. We packed up our stuff and left as fast as we could. On our way back, we met a sheriff. We told him what had happened, and he didn't seem surprised. He told us that there had been reports of strange occurrences in those woods before, but he never elaborated on what exactly that meant. We tried to contact the guy who owned the cabin, but he had disappeared. The listing was gone, and his number didn't work anymore. We never talked about it again. I was looking through some old stuff and found a picture of the cabin. I'm posting it here because I think it might help someone. If you recognize this place, please let me know. I need to know if anyone else has had a similar experience. The picture is attached. This happened years ago, and I've tried to forget about it, but I can't. I think about it every day. I don't know if it was just some random crazy person or if it was something more sinister. I just need to know that I'm not crazy. Please, if you have any information, let me know. I'm scared that it wasn't just some random guy. I'm scared that it was something else. Something that doesn't want us to talk about it. I don't know what's going on, but I know that it's not right. I can feel it in my bones. Please, help me. I just want to know the truth. I know you're reading this, so just answer the question. What is it? OP, you're a liar. You, sir, you know I'm not. OP, you're not even real. You don't exist. OP, you know that's not true. Stop pretending. OP, you're not real. OP, I know what you are. You've been watching us. Stop pretending you don't know what's going on. Just tell me what you want. OP, you're a liar. You don't know anything. OP, stop playing games. I know you're real. I've seen you. OP, you've seen nothing. You're just a liar. OP, you were in my house, in my kitchen. Don't lie to me. OP, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. OP, I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. You were there. OP, you're just a liar. Stop pretending. OP, I'm not pretending. I'm telling the truth. You were in my house. OP, you don't even exist. You're not real. OP, I know you exist. I've seen you. You can't hide from me. OP, you haven't seen anything. You're just a crazy liar. OP, I'm not lying. I know who you are. I've seen what you can do. OP, you don't know anything. You're just making things up. OP, I'm not making anything up. I saw you. In the woods. OP, you didn't see anything. You're crazy. OP, I'm not crazy. I saw you. You can't deny it. OP, you didn't see me. You didn't see anything. OP, you were there. I know it. Stop lying to me. OP, you're lying. You don't know who I am. OP, I know exactly who you are. Don't play games with me. OP, you don't know anything. Stop lying. OP, I'm not lying. You were there. In the cabin. OP, you're just a liar. You don't even exist. OP, stop denying it. I know you were there. OP, you don't know anything. Just stop talking. OP, I'm not going to stop talking. You're going to tell me what you want. OP, I don't want anything from you. Just stop lying. OP, you were in the cabin. Don't lie to me. OP, you didn't see anything. Just forget about it. OP, I can't forget about it. You were watching us. OP, you're just making things up. Stop it. OP, I'm not making it up. You were there, OP. You don't even know who I am. Stop talking. OP, I know who you are. You're that thing from the woods. OP, you don't know anything. I don't even exist. OP, I know what you are. User, you know nothing. OP, I know what you did. User, you know nothing. OP, I know you were in the cabin. User, you know nothing. OP, I know you're not human. User, you know nothing. OP, I know you're watching me. User, you know nothing. OP, I know you're real. User, you know nothing. OP, I know you want something. User, you know nothing. OP, I know you won't stop. User, you know nothing. OP, you were in our house. User, no. OP, you were in our kitchen. User, no. OP, you were watching us. User, no. OP, you followed us home. User, no. OP, you were at my window. User, no. OP, you want to hurt me. User, no. OP, you won't leave me alone. User, no. OP, you'll keep watching. User, yes. OP, you want me. User, yes. OP, you need me. User, yes. OP, you can't stop. User, yes. OP, I know what you are. You know what you want. I know why you're here. You know you can't hide. I see you. You see me. You won't stop. I won't stop. You know it. I know it. It's time to face it. It's time to accept it. It's time for the truth. OP, you're right. It's time for the truth. I know what you want. I know why you're here, and I'm not gonna let you have it. User, I'm sorry. OP, sorry? What do you have to be sorry for? User, I didn't mean to hurt you. OP, you didn't hurt me. But I know what you did. I know what you are. User, please. OP, what? What do you want now? User, don't say it. Don't tell them. OP, I have to. I have to warn them. User, they'll never believe you. They'll think you're crazy. OP, they might, but I have to try. User, no, don't do it, please. OP, I'm sorry. I have no choice. User, you have a choice. You can choose not to tell them. You can choose to forget. OP, I can't forget. I won't forget. User, please, don't do this. OP, I'm sorry, but it's too late. They already know. They can see you. User, no. No, 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 this can't be happening. OP, I'm sorry, but you can't hide forever. User, please, I'll leave. I'll never come back. Just don't tell them, please. OP, I'm sorry, but I have to tell the truth. User, no. This is my life. You can't take it away from me. I won't let you. OP, I'm not taking anything away from you. I'm just telling the truth. User, you're ruining everything. You're ruining my life, OP. I'm sorry, but someone has to stop you. User, no. I won't let you. I won't let anyone stop me. This is who I am. OP, I know. But it's not right. You can't keep doing this. User, I have to. It's who I am. OP, I'm sorry. But no, it has to end. User, no. Please, don't do this. I'm begging you, OP. I'm sorry. But it has to be done. User, no. No. Please, I'll do anything. Just don't tell them, OP. I'm sorry. But this is the only way. They have to know. They have to understand. I hope you can find peace. User, no. 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 Stop, stop, please, stop, OP. I'm sorry. It's too late. It's over. User, no. I'm sorry. Goodbye. User, no. Please. Don't. Please. OPP. Goodbye. User, I'm still here. OP. No. You're gone. User, I'm here. I'm still here. You can't get rid of me. OP. No. It's over. You're gone. User, I'm not gone. I'm still here. OP. No. You're not. You can't be. User. Yes. I am. I'm not going anywhere. OP. I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have done that. Now, you've made it worse. Much worse. You shouldn't have looked closer. You shouldn't have tried to find out more. Now you know too much. And once you know, there's no going back. I'm sorry, but it's too late. You've seen too much. You can't unsee it. You can't forget. It's inside you now, and it won't let you go. I'm so sorry. You should have left it alone. You should have just let it be. But now, it's too late. Now, you're a part of it, and it's a part of you. I'm sorry. There's no escape now. You're trapped, just like me, just like all the others. We tried to warn you, but you didn't listen. Now, it's too late. The door is closed. The window is shut. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It's coming for you, and it won't stop until it has you. I'm so sorry, but this is the end. There's no turning back now. Just accept it. M?